Hello everyone. In this session we'll go through the topic requirement for policy making. Now we have already seen this in previous session, but in this session we'll go through the detail for policy making, in which the first topic is incentive cells manufacturing. Domestic cell manufacturing is viewed as an option to not only reduce the cost of batteries but also to reap economic benefits from the transition. The option has attracted attention in most policies formulated at the central and the state levels. The idea is to take advantage of relatively low cost labor and provide financial support on capital expenditure to manufacture cells at scale. Manufacturing at scale, along with the efforts to improve the efficiency of value chains and resource utilization, will help reduce the cost of batteries. However, the investment in cell manufacturing will depend on an assurance of demand for batteries, and hence it is important that demand creation policies are effective. Now in this table we can see that the strategy and the policy area where the incentivizing the cell manufacturing is done by domestic manufacturing and other linkages, which has been done for few others. When we go through all of them, we'll read more about them in details. So in the next slide, that is development of ancillary industries. The development of ancillary industries for pack components. It is evident that cell manufacturing needs rare earth metals, and one option could be to manufacture ancillary components domestically as a support act. The idea is to develop and integrate with global value chains that are easier to enter. Battery pack and components constitute around 30 to 50% of the total cost of battery, and there is a scope to reduce the price by providing incentives and developing domestic industry. India successfully achieved this in the case of traditional automobile industry, where it is an important part of the global value chain. Hence, it might be possible to emulate this by developing the ancillary industries for pack components and utilizing spillovers from it to manufacture cells and batteries. For example, in case of battery management system and battery packs, significant development has already taken place with the help of newly launched government bodies. The third topic is reusability. Now, incentivizing reverse logistic or reuse for stationary users. Since batteries could have a second life for stationary use, and cost can be recovered from recycling too. This explored the option of reducing cost once a battery is acquired. The increasing share of renewable energy increases the demand of storage and vehicle batteries, and could offer solution that would result in reduction in the cost of ownership. Since the volume of batteries will grow with the increasing uptake of EVs, a strategy to incentivize the reverse logistics could help reduce the initial cost of batteries and end users of the manufacturers. Now after this comes the question how to improve the critical availability of the critical cell components. That as discussed above, even the financial assistance manufacturing of cells domestically is contingent upon the availability of key elements that are used in manufacturing a cell. This option prioritizes the political and trade related efforts to ensure the entry of domestic manufacturers in global value chains to procure a rare raw material. Now this option can be viewed as a part of the first option, that is too broad and may be deemed as redundant, occurring repeatedly, but it distinctly focuses on geopolitical efforts to ensure availability of raw materials, and also serves the purpose of ensuring the consistency and objectivity of the ranking exercise. Domestic manufacturing of cells will depend on the availability of raw materials, and hence these options must have similar priority. Now the next topic is standardization. Now standardization comes at a cost. Standards of cell manufacturing, battery pack assembling, and testing are important to prevent the entry and of non-standardized batteries and dumping of technology in the market. Substandard batteries are cheap but unsafe. The update of EVs is highly contingent upon the end user's perception, and unsafe batteries would have adverse effect. This means that the mental stability of consumers for EVs is a major impact, major affecting area now. Standardization is not only low cost strategy but will also help improve investors' confidence in the market. Now, battery as a service. This option is an example of innovative business models to reduce the cost of the batteries to end users in the short term. The rationale is to transfer the cost of battery as a service to the end users to promote the concept of circular economy. However, this business model is such a case could be complicated. For example, in the case of public transport, the bus could be bought by transport companies and the batteries by electricity distribution companies. Transport companies could pay the distribution companies service charges during the first life of the battery, and the distribution company could recover the remaining cost during the second life and recycling of the battery. Similarly, in case of passenger cars or two-wheelers, users can pay a part of battery cost upfront when they buy a vehicle, which will reduce the initial cost of ownership, while the remaining cost can be recovered during the life cycle of the battery. Now in this slide we'll go through the major impact of reducing the cost of electric vehicles. The demand aggregation. Demand aggregation or bulk procurements reduce the cost and could help in creating further demand. Assured demand is important to attract private investments, and aggregation in case of government procurements and public transport could result in the assurance of demand. Now, previously discussed government bodies, that is EESL in India, has already overtaken initiatives to aggregate demand for government vehicles and public transport. The aggregation may not only help in reducing the unit cost of the vehicles, but because of the greater battery utilization rate in case of public transport vehicles, it will also increase the demand of batteries in the future. Now, covering all this topic, we must focus now on the research and development part of this topic, that is having the dedicated battery research unit institute, since the battery is the most important part of an EV. For policy analysis, it is evident that network approach that brings stakeholders together is important, and so is the information on technologies. So this option is included to assess the need for an institution that ensures availability of information on technologies to industry and adapts imported technologies to suit Indian conditions and applications use. The purpose of such institute may go beyond research and development activities to include identification of opportunities for improvement in the sensitivity of the business and the stakeholders to rapid technological advancement in the area of EV technologies. For example, National Institute of Wind Energy was established to develop technical aspects of having advancement in wind energy in India. In this slide you can see how the policies are ranked based on their priorities, which range from 23 to 7%. As we move on to the next slide, we can see how the policies, what are the steps or the hierarchy how the policies are marked on a flow chart. Now these are the policies that we have already discussed. Now the three major impact on policy making is impact on cost, impact of time, and investment required. These are the criterias, whereas the goal is to have the best policy on the option. Now this is the flow chart that the experts follow in policy making. In this slide we can see the weightage of criteria. The criteria we discussed above was impact, time, and investment. As we can see here, the impact has the most of the weightage, that is 64% of the weightage is by the impact, whereas quarter is shared by time, and near about 14% is by the investment. We can see the investment is the least priority for a policy making. Now in this table we can see the expert panel does not make each and every policy right out of their mind. They refer to the policies that are already present in the real world. We can see the support of domestic manufacturing and related linkages is the policy review of the US, UK, Germany, as well as in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka it was followed, and like that we can see for others also. In this table we can see what are the policies that we have already discussed and the description of materials. Now have we started implementing these ideas? Not in every stage. We can see the packaging is already started, as well as usage profile, the reuse, even the vehicle integration we have started in-house of OEMs, research and development at IIT Madras, Kharagpur and Mumbai, as well as NPL and ISRO is also performing, and several other OEMs. Where in the next slide we can see that the rise of vehicle sales figures in India due to the following policy making for the year 2018 and 19 as well as 17. Now this is the National Institute of Wind Energy that we were talking about in an example. This was being set up as a research and development unit for the advancement in wind energy sources. To cover the topic, to conclude the topic, we have covered all the aspects of requirement of policy making. For another topic we'll see in the next session. Thank you.